recording. Um, and I'm going to try something as well today, where essentially the AI on Zoom summarizes the whole call and puts it in a note format, and then I can send that to you as well, which I think will be helpful.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
so yeah, I've been playing around with it a little bit. So we'll give it a go and we'll see how good a job it does. Joanne, Charlie, do you mind just turning on your webcams, please? How was everyone's weekend?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning, good morning.
Good. We got snow in the Cascades.
Oh,
Oh, I see that.
Oh,
Yeah, I see the
lucky
snow behind
yeah,
you.
you,
look
Jenny.
at that.
Yeah.
Are you stuck there? No.
We could be. We don't have our little snowcat to get us out. It's being repaired, so we have to get out. We have to get out somehow. Yeah.
How much snow was there?
Just a couple inches, but there's predictions for more. And the cross country skiing is closed, and we thought it was it, but it's good for the snowpack. Good for snowpack.
Good for the
Just have to get
snowpack. And
back.
while we're talking about that, not that the time of the year is now a bit late. Well, it's not that late, but I'll just give everyone a little tip. How many people have ever had trouble photographing snow if you've ever been into the snow? Okay. So photographing snow is really hard because the camera looks at snow and it sees it as this big white mass, especially
Okay.
because so it basically cheats the camera to think that the scene is brighter than it really is. Because remember, our cameras, they like make this instantaneous decision. They look at, usually, if you're on, depending on what camera you have, multi or pattern or evaluative. No problem, Kim. Um, then the camera thinks it's brighter than it really is. So what happens? Let me share my screen with everyone. This is a good 2 minute little tip I'll give you here. So let's share my Lightroom. Okay, everyone see that? So what happens
Yes.
when you're in the snow is your camera's light meter, which is this thing that looks like this that we're all familiar with, which shows you if your photograph is too bright or too dark. It will often start flashing at you over here or over here, like +2, +3. Even though everything looks good to you, the meter is tricked by all of the white snow. But the problem is if you change your shutter speed, aperture, or ISO and you bring it back down to 0, then the whole scene goes too dark. So you can't do that. So the little trick for photographing in the snow is most of you on your cameras have a button that looks like that. Anyone got any idea what that is?
Exposure compensation.
Compensation.
Good. So this is the exposure compensation button. And actually, you also, if you're playing around on your iPhone, you're doing this in the Lightroom app, you've also got it in there as well. And if you know you're going out to shoot in the snow, whether it's a bunny running through the snow, landscape in the snow, a skier, it doesn't matter. Anywhere where there is a predominance of snow, I would just, as a tip, before you even walk out your front door, put your exposure compensation between -0 and -1 stop. That basically cheats. Hold on, Susie, one
Excuse-
sec. That basically
uh,
cheats the camera to think it's darker than it really is, which ends up balancing out your scene. Susie.
yeah, when I play around with my exposure compensation, are we supposed to see a difference in the camera,
You
lighter
should
or
see
darker?
it's very minimal. I mean, if you went to like -3, you'd see a difference. But if you're going
Yeah,
minus
because I
one,
never see any difference.
if you're going 0.3, 0.7, you're not going to notice a discernible difference. But it helps the camera.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so that's one thing I would do for snow. The other thing that our camera, when it looks at a scene and it's like looking at all this snow here, and there's like one skier here, like skiing, um, but this is all snow, is the camera hates trying to find something called white balance. And you remember, white balance just means the temperature of light, how warm or how cold the light is. I see so many pictures of people have taken in the snow where the snow looks really blue, or the snow looks really, usually blue, not orange. The snow looks really blue because the camera is freaking out because it's looking at all of this white stuff and it's trying to figure out like where's white, Where's gray and where's all the other colors that fall off that? What's the temperature of light? It's very hard to photograph snow on AWB. Nancy, what do you think AWB means?
Auto white balance.
You got it. So if we're letting the camera do the work, usually it's fine. And I tell people not really to worry about white balance because you can fix it afterwards and the camera's pretty good at getting it right. But 8, 9 times out of 10 in snow, it will screw it up. So all you need to do, dependent on whether like Jenny, it looks like at the moment behind her, it's a relatively like nice blue sky day. If it's a blue sky day and she's going out to shoot the sun, she's going to put it on the sun mode on her camera. That's you overriding the auto balance. That's you basically telling the camera that the sun is shining on the snow and the sun creates warmth, makes everything look orange. And I want you to inject some blue into the picture to bring it within. Do you remember I talked about something called kelvins? Kelvins is the unit of measurement used to measure the temperature of light. And the daylight standard neutral is 5,000 to 5,400 kelvins. When you put this sun on here, it's trying to inject blue to get you back to that neutral. If it's a cloudy day, we put it on the cloud. And we do this before you go outside. You don't have to fumble around with this when you're outside. And the cloud one does the opposite. The cloud one, the snow looks super blue if you don't touch it. But what putting it on the cloud mode does is it injects warmth into the photo, oranges and yellows, that neutralizes the snow color back to white. And those are the 2 tips: exposure compensation and taking it off auto white balance and using either you can get a little bit more complex than this, but this is a good start, using either the sun or the cloud. And the other thing, remember, even if you have a snow, and I don't have a snowy picture here of any of your pictures, but if you have a snowy picture, Lightroom has this very handy, let's see what I can find that's relatively looks like snow. Okay, let's just imagine this was snow. It's not snow. But all this white stuff was snow. Remember that if the picture comes out and it looks like that, which happens a lot in the snow, it looks really blue or really orange, one or the other, you have this tool here, the white, right at the top of the develop in Lightroom, called the White Balance Picker tool. I'll put it in a circle here. And let me use a nice color. And if I'm blocking the right-hand side of your screen, you can move me. Hopefully you can all see in there. Everyone see that okay? Okay. And what that does is when we pick up this, and I'll actually open up this side of Lightroom as well. When we pick up this tool, we're looking to find something in our photograph that is neutral gray or white. Now that's easy when there's snow because you're just looking to hover your picker over the snow. So it's basically like right at the end of my little dropper there. I'm seeing like a microscopic view of the pixels. You can see if I move it around, the colors in that grid change. I'm seeing a microscopic view of the pixels that are at the end of my dropper. And underneath that, you can see it says RGB. And the numbers are like floating around all over the place as I move this over. Everyone see that RGB down at the bottom? Okay, that means red, green, blue, your primary colors. That's saying it right at the end of my dropper. What is the percentage of red, green, and blue at the end there? And ideally, you can eyeball this. You basically want all these grid squares to basically be the same. It's very easy when it's snow. But you want those RGB numbers to be within 10% of each other if you can. So what you don't want is like down here. Oh yeah, actually that's kind of within 10%. It's quite neat. Let me see if I can find something that's like here. You can see the red is 23, the G is 26, the blue is 58. If I click on that, That's a disaster. Doesn't look how I want it to look. It's actually also very useful. I'll just draw an arrow here. When you use the white balance picker tool, as you hover over the picture, if you look where my red arrow is on the top left, you can see the picture changing. It gives you a preview of what it's going to look like if you click on that exact spot. See here. So all I want to do here is I want to find a neutral kind of white or gray, and I just do one left click. Fixed. So you can do it in Lightroom afterwards if you're in the snow and there's an issue, but I'd much rather you get it right in camera. So that's a really, and the reason it's right at the top is it's usually the first thing we do to our photo. You notice it a lot with people as well. If you're photographing friends or family and you suddenly look like their skin looks really green, purple, a bit orange or blue, generally you know that the white balance picker is the first place you're going to go to try to fix that. And also, I mean, this is not a raw picture. It was taken as a raw picture, but as sent to me, it was not a raw picture. But that's a big reason why we whoever's got the background right.
Joanne.
Joanne, can you just mute yourself, please?
I'm in my class, so.
I'll let you run. You might not mute her camera.
I don't know, it's fine, it's fine. We'll wait till she comes back. Well,
Adam, you can mute her.
It's fine, I think she's done now. A big reason why we shoot in RAW is because we have so much more data available, and that makes fixing white balance much easier. And actually what you're seeing up here on the right here, and you're seeing just random numbers. On a raw file, you'll actually see the Kelvin numbers. So this would say like 5,000, 5,400, 7,000, 2,000. It doesn't say +6. It's only showing me that because in a JPEG, the information's not there. That's why it's important to understand. You'll see here normally the Kelvin number. And the Kelvin number insinuates the temperature of the light in your picture. How yellow, how blue it is, how purple, how green it is. Okay? Susie, you look like you got a question.
No.
Okay. I know we've covered that before, but it's just good to cover in the context of snow. It happens a lot. The camera hates snow. Finds it very, very difficult to balance it. So those are a few little tricks to help that. Okay?
Go, Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny now. I definitely don't have any snow in Florida, I can tell you that. It's 87 degrees, the total opposite of Jenny. Okay, so plan for today. Let me remind you. So because some of you weren't here at the last class. So last time we went quite deep on the theory of focus stacking, taking multiple pictures where we move the focus square and we end up putting them all together in order to be able to get the difference between tacked sharp and acceptable sharp, i.e. a picture that's sharp, totally sharp from front to back, or where you're photographing a very small thing, a bug, and you want the whole bug to be sharp, but everything else to be blurry, how to control that depth of field. And then the second thing we covered, and hopefully for those of you who weren't here, you've had a chance to review the recording, was tethering, which is a very widely common used technique, especially when focus stacking, but it can be used for anything, where tethering just means that as you take the photo, it is coming straight onto your computer in Lightroom. You're not having to take the card out, put it in. Oh, I don't like how that looks. Take the card out, put it back in. By then, you've lost your light, you've lost your setup, and you have to wait till the next day, or you never get around to doing it. So it's a really good way to check our work, check our focus. And I showed you, I'm not going to go over that today, but I showed you the process of how to do that. Most of you sent me focus stacking pictures, which was great. Thank you. I'm interested to hear how you got on. But did any of you have a chance to try the tethering?
I bought the tether, but I just too many things to keep my brain organized with.
It's okay.
The focus stacking was plenty.
Yeah,
I'll do it. because I bought it.
But as you get more confident with the focus stacking, and it's like it becomes more instinctive, the tethering, especially the reason I wanted to show it to you last time is because it's all integrated into Lightroom.
Yes.
So you used to have to like
Actually,
tether. Sorry, go for it, Jenny.
oh, I actually did tethering because I forgot my little chip reader.
Uh-huh.
So I had no way of getting my photos into my laptop.
And how did you find
And
it?
well, it wasn't ideal, mainly because I didn't know where to put it on in my Lightroom. But it was okay. It was okay. I could see the image on
Uh-huh.
my little laptop. I had thought that I would be able to see what I was focusing on my laptop. It wasn't. I had took the photograph and then I could see it.
Yes, that's true. So you take the
Yeah, yeah,
photograph
yeah,
and it's like it's the
yeah,
finished product then comes into Lightroom. Imagine I
yeah.
tethered this picture and I still have my camera plugged in. I can then zoom in and zoom in and I can check focus and I can be like, darn, the focus was in the wrong place. And then I move the focus ground, then I take another picture and then I check it again. You can even mess around while you're tethering with all of this stuff, with all the sliders. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna like fix this and I'm gonna go, I'm making this look bad, but I'm gonna go like this and then I'm going to take another one, and just the next one will overwrite it. Jenny, go back and watch the recording of how I set up the tethering because I did explain where, like, the way to decide where things go. And it's almost identical to when things come in from your camera, is they should be going like the raw files are going to go behind the scenes in your pictures folder, in a year folder that you don't have to worry about. And then on the front end, you just have to move it into a collection. It's exactly the
Yeah,
same.
I think I'm okay, but I found it cumbersome to have the tripod, the camera, the laptop. I just was something in all this apparatus.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
It,
it was useful.
it
I was
is a
glad I
whole
had it.
it is a whole setup, and it's more like a professional photographer's like studio workshop. Like if you were a product photographer, if you were a food photographer, and I was commissioned to go and photograph for a restaurant, I'd always tether. I'd have the laptop there. But it is an extra thing. But it is very helpful. So if you've kind of got one shot to do something and you want to make sure you get it perfect, it's much easier to see them on your 13, 15, 17-inch screen laptops than it is on your tiny camera screen. So well done for trying that, Jenny. Um, because we went so deep into focus stacking, we didn't have a chance to review anyone's pictures from last time, you may remember. So
Right.
I'd actually like to start the lesson, and this was the one for those of you who weren't here. I kind of artificially made different parts of this photo sharp. So we did one photo where this was sharp, one photo where this was sharp, and one photo where this was sharp, and then I showed you how to put them all together. So again, it's all in the last recording. You can go back. I don't want to waste the time today going back through the process. I think a few of you had challenges that we'll talk about in a bit, but I want to spend the first part of today kind of putting focus stacking to the side, and thinking about the original assignment I sent you, which was repetition and pattern. And repetitive pattern is extremely powerful in photography. Pattern, line, and shape. And it occurs everywhere. Like you guys did a great job of finding it. But it's something I just want to spend maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes looking at your pictures, and then we'll pivot back to kind of the more technical focus stacking stuff. And then I've got a few other things to show you today if we have time. Sound like a good plan?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So let's take a look at these. Some taken on camera, some taken on iPhone. So this was the iPhone. Whose was this one? Can you remember? I know it's a
Joanne,
few weeks back. Okay, so
Joanne,
this was Joanne. Joanne, did you take this using the Lightroom app? Can you remember?
sorry?
Did you
Yes,
take
they're
it
from the Lightroom app, yes.
Excellent. Very good. So Joanne's controlled the settings here. Settings here look really good, like relatively fast shutter speed. Just got to be careful if these flowers are moving in the wind. Remember, we don't have a control exactly of the F number, but we do have control on the iPhone of being able to control the
Yeah.
depth of field with that button that looks like this, which allows you to basically manually focus. And Joanne's kept the ISO really low. It's a it's a good, actually repetitive pattern because it's not completely literal. I like the fill the frame composition. The level of sharpness is very good across the frame. Oops. It may have been interesting for you. Well, let's ask someone actually. Let's ask Charlie. Charlie, where do you think, let me make it disappear. Where's the first place your eye goes to when I bring up Joanne's picture?
In which picture? The primroses?
Yeah, the flowers.
Mine goes right in the middle
Yeah,
to the leaves.
kind of in here somewhere, right?
To the leaf.
To the leaf. Okay,
Yeah.
so Joanne probably definitely didn't want you to go to the leaf. She
No.
wanted the flowers to be the attention. So one thing I would say here is I agree that this is because it's very bright, even though green and purple are complementary colors on the color wheel, and they are balancing each other out. Ideally, I think attention needs to go here. One thing, Joanne, you could have done is literally moved an inch higher than you were, and you would have closed up this gap. It still would have been there, the green. It just wouldn't have looked so much like we kind of put some lettuce in between the flowers to make a
I
sound.
took those from out, they were outside the grocery store and I was holding my camera up very high.
Oh, so you're already holding your camera up high. So nice job for holding it. And I think it's good. I mean, this is us being hypercritical to help you kind of, and I think as well, like even when you crop this, like you could potentially crop it and even just kind of go more like this, focus more on like the diagonal line there, and then the green kind of leads you in. We have a clear focal point there that now sits on the golden ratio or the rule of thirds. But yeah, I agree with nice spot, Charlie. I agree that that green in the middle is, in this particular instance, somewhat distracting. Also, again, this was beyond your control, but you could have cropped it afterwards. On a fill the frame picture like this, which is so nicely filling the frame here, just watch for like little gaps like this. And again, you could have just cropped that out because it's the only place where kind of, I mean, there's a little bit where you're peeking in here, but that doesn't bother. But around the edges here, GCA judges, you'll be able to tell me better than I know. But from when I sit in on GCA judging stuff, across the country, so many times people talk about the edges of the frame, the edges of the frame. Check the
I was
edges.
just looking for patterns.
You got it.
I forgot to think about it being a good photograph.
It's okay. And I think you found the good patterns. I think there's and this is a good case to show you that kind of pattern, line, shape, especially repetitive pattern, exist everywhere in nature. You could wander around a garden, you'd see it again and again. Nice job, Joanne. Really good. I wonder what it looks like if we flip it this way. Yeah. See, then the green becomes even more obvious.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Also, I should tell you this because you see me rotate pictures around. I don't think I've ever told you guys this, but this is always, when you're in the develop, you can't rotate a picture. You can't flip it 90 degrees, flip it 90 degrees, flip it 90 degrees. You have to be in the library, and it's always going to be in one of two places. It's going to be either on the photo. If you look on that photo, you can see that there's these little arrows here. And if I click it, they flip it around. But I usually recommend you make the photo big, and you can see down at the bottom those two arrows exist. And that's how you rotate. And often, especially on fill the frame stuff like this, and if we want to make something seem a little bit more abstract, you've seen me do this tons, flip photos around. So don't be afraid to try that. Now, that bar is sometimes not there on your Lightroom. You'll be like, oh no, I've gone to flip it, but the bar's disappeared. It happens a lot, especially when Lightroom updates. You need to hit this down there is called the toolbar. So this is Lightroom's toolbar that lives down here. And it shows you your ratings. It shows you like your where it sits. And it also gives you the ability to do a few things to the photo. That often it disappears. The way to get it back, given that it's the toolbar, is all you have to do is hit T on your keyboard. You got to be in library there. If I hit T, it comes back. If I hit T, it takes it away. So that's the easiest way to rotate, but just that's a good little Lightroom tip. Okay. But nice job, Joanne. Really good. Let's look at the next one. Okay. So this one straight away to me, definitely repetitive light and pattern. Nancy, where's the light coming from in this picture?
From the right.
Good. So it's coming from camera right, somewhat over the photographer's shoulder. Settings look pretty good here. Kind of right in the middle of where we'd want to be in our shutter speed. Remember, like, if we're not doing anything crazy, like slow shutter speed or freezing a hummingbird, we want to be somewhere between 1/125 and 1/500. And this is smack bang in between. Relatively low F number, giving a shallow depth of field and keeping the ISO nice and low. Now, in this particular, this was taken with a 90mm macro lens. That's a big focal length. What happens to the depth of field because this has been increased, Susie? Do we get more or less in focus?
Less.
Good, yeah. So the higher this number goes, for those of you who have zoom lenses, the shallower the depth of field gets. It compresses the depth of field. And that's why we have no idea what's behind this fence. It's totally blurred. It's a great trick for when we want to make the subject stand out from the background, or when there's something really distracting in the background. Often you'll have something that's really distracting. So settings wise, I think this looks really good. The one thing I would say with the F number here is this fence, especially there was a slight lean on it, I just straighten it up. But this fence, the way that it's been taken, you can see from the line, is slightly falling away from us. So that's to say that fence post number 1 is closer to the camera than fence post number 4. It's kind of, if you can see my hand, it's kind of on an angle like that rather than being straight. The byproduct of that is because there's such a shallow depth of field, is that post number 1 on the right is pretty sharp. Look what happens to post number 3 and post number 4.
Mm-hmm.
They fall off pretty quickly. And that's just because depth of field has been made more shallow. It's been compressed because of the combination of f5.6 and 90mm. f5.6, if you take this with a wide angle lens, the whole thing's in focus. So I ideally would love for all these, with these posts to all be sharp. So let's play out how we do that. So the first thing we'd have to do is we'd have to increase the F number. So let's just say this goes 2 stops higher to F11. Okay, Joanne, does that make the picture brighter or darker?
Darker.
Okay, so it's going to, I can recreate it exactly. It's going to be 2 stops darker. It goes to that. But all the fence posts will now be sharp. What am I going to change to get back that 2 stops of light?
Your ISO.
That's it. And I'll give a special brownie point. Can anyone tell me the number that the ISO should go to?
300.
2
No,
steps. 2 steps.
400.
400. Good. Very good. So it's 2 stops. So we're gaining 2 stops. So gaining 1 stop would take us to 200, and gaining another stop would take us to 400. So if I took this exact same picture at 1/320th, f11, ISO 400, all of the fence would be sharp.
Mm.
And that's something to be really wary of. I know a lot of you have got zoom lenses, you've got telephoto lenses, but it's even the same if you're shooting on the iPhone and you go from the ultra wide to the telephoto lens. The minute you get to where you're more zoomed in on something, the amount of room that you have to play with in terms of what's called the plane of focus is much smaller. So it's quite easy to take a picture like this. And this, I cannot tell you how many like wedding photographers and event photographers I mentor and I help who will come to me and imagine this is the bride and the groom. So this is the bride. Like this is the groom and here's the wedding party, like here's an usher here and an usher here. It's just a group of people, and they'll come to me and they do not understand why like the groom is sharp and everyone else is slightly blurry. Happens a lot if ever you take a group of people. You take a family photo, you've got and you zoom in, you have to make sure that your F number is high enough where you're not going to offend someone and they're going to call you and say, hey, Adam, why did you make X sharp? I became really blurry in the background. Because realistically, all of those people, when they stand in a line, even if you think they're standing in a line, they're not in a perfect line. They're not all exactly 6 feet away from the camera. One could be 5.8, one could be. So I always tell anyone who's taking group shots, which some of you may well do, and this could be a group shot of animals, this could be a group shot of your family, it doesn't matter, that your F number usually needs to be somewhere between F8 and F11 to be in a comfort zone of, I know I'm going to get the whole group sharp. Anywhere below that, you're probably going to get one or two people blurry. Okay, that makes sense to everyone.
Mhm.
Another thing is when we took this, whose was this?
Susie.
Susie's, cool. So when Susie took this, again, it's at a slight angle. If you wanted to make it straight, I've shown this to you before, but it's good for anything architectural, is you can come all the way down here to where it says transform on the right-hand side and develop. This is really useful for buildings because sometimes, and you can clearly see in this picture that like this, like it's on an angle, just a tiny bit. I almost want to like grab hold of this fence post and pull it forward so everything's in a perfect line. And the way we do that is you really don't need to worry about all of these sliders. The only ones you need to be concerned about are vertical and horizontal. And if I slide this horizontal one, look, that's going to make like it even worse. That's going to make it more of an angle. I don't quite have the room here to do it, but I can bring this back so that it's perfectly straight. I can also use the vertical to make it go up and down. I didn't have enough room on the canvas there, but look at the difference between that
That's
and
really
that.
interesting.
You see how I just pull the left-hand side forward? And in truth, like when Susie was out taking this, it's almost impossible unless you like properly set up with a tripod and you really take your time. But when you're handheld, your camera is never going to be 100% straight. And even the slightest tilt of your camera this way or forward or back is going to result in this thing called parallax error, which is what basically when lines aren't straight. You've also got the tool here. You can sometimes, which works really well for buildings, you can just hit auto. You can see that. I didn't think that would work. That wasn't enough of a reference point. But you can just combine the vertical, the horizontal, and I usually
I
combine.
use those little crossbar things all the time, the manual
Yeah.
ones.
Mm-hmm. Which
The
one?
ones at the
Under
top
guide.
left.
Under guide.
The left. See the little X's?
Oh,
The
you use
little, click
use these
that, and then
guys.
you just
Yeah,
draw.
and
You
then you
draw like
strip.
up to 4 lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you might want the horizontal going. You don't necessarily need all those straight, but yeah, you definitely need your horizontal. The
Yeah,
horizontal. Yeah.
yeah, or you go that way.
Yeah, and I think that's your limit. I think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can only do 4,
Four. You can only
so
do four. You're right. So you can go. I don't know how to turn these off. Get rid of this.
yeah, you just got to move one. Change one. Grab it.
No,
Anyway, I
I'm just
do it
gonna.
all the
There we
time.
go. No, it's a good tip. I probably do it the old school way because I'm so used to sliding those
Yeah,
sliders.
I take a picture of a lot of meetings and screens. I tend to just start with the auto and then kind of
Yeah, go
putz
from
around
there.
so things don't
Yeah,
look too whacked.
yeah. Good point. But the key is we want lines to look straight. There's a
Mhm.
whole different way of achieving this here. Um, and again, don't worry about all of these like these ones. This is all like irrelevant. Well, it's not
Yeah,
irrelevant, but
because
it's
I'd
just
probably start with one vertical and one horizontal and see what I
yeah.
get.
I usually
Hmm.
99.9% of the time get where I need to be through a combination of the auto or the level and then vertical and horizontal.
Yeah, because I noticed it didn't grab the horizontal when you did the first auto. So I
Yeah,
would have added, or you could just rotate, do manual eyeball.
exactly. But we can, but we can see here that so two good learning lessons here. One about keeping lines straight, but I think even the more pressing and important lesson from this picture is when we have a higher focal length, our depth of field compresses, and especially if we're taking a picture of a series of things. If Susie had just taken this picture and she just wanted like one of these things, then she wouldn't have an issue. But when we got a group like that, you've got to make sure that you're compensating with your F number to get everything in focus. Okay. Susie, what was actually behind that fence? What is that just fields?
Actually, no, I think it was a building.
Oh, it's a building. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Just looks like an abstract canvas background. So that's great. Okay, let's look at this one. Really good. Nice job whoever took this on the iPhone. Again, settings are good. 1/240th ISO. I'll just make it a bit smaller so you can see. 1/240 ISO 100 or 160, I should say. Um, the only thing I would probably go here is to me, this photo is a little bit too literal. I like the black and white, I like the lighting, but I think we're giving just a little bit, it's very symmetrical, but I think we're giving a little bit too much away. In my opinion, and this is very personal, but I like to make my photos where people kind of really ask questions, and I encourage all my students to do this. I would fill the frame here with something that, let's find something good, with something that maybe just is more like that, where you still kind of know that it's a tire and you can still see it, but it's just creating something that's a little bit more artistic and not quite as documentarian, if that's a word, as the one on the right. And there's tons of ways you could crop this one. I mean, this has so much interesting line and shape and pattern. I could play with this and I could swivel it. I'm going to put it this way, and I could do a crop like that if I wanted to do a crop like that. And now you're starting to think, oh my God, I've got no idea that's a tire or the spokes of a wheel.
Is that when you crop it that tight, do you still think it's pattern?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Look at it. Look at all the pattern and line and
Right.
shape there, 100%. Yeah. I also just kind of instinctively as I did it, that I think it's a Lexus sign or the car logo. Notice that how I didn't. Now you could have done, because it's very symmetrical. I could have done that and put it in the middle,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it feels very symmetrical. Or I could have offset it. I went for the offsetted version at the beginning, where I kind of put it in the top right, so all of the spokes were leading to there. But you could do the same this way. You could put it down here. There's tons of ways that you could put this. The light and the detail in this is great. Then you could even say, okay, I want that, but now I want the logo. I want to be able to, I'm going to hit T. I want to rotate it and I want to go to that. I don't think that looks as good because it's leading you out the frame. But it more just comparing these two. All this needed was the photographer to move 2 feet forward. This is like the car wheel is not going to bite you. Like you can go right up to it and take a picture. You can crop it afterwards in Lightroom, but as we know, when we do that, we're losing pixels. So I would veer towards more like a composition on the right. Then, and even like just looking here, like even if you wanted to focus on just like this word eagle or whatever, like there's an interesting, and again, it's pattern, just even like that. I'm not saying it's as interesting. I'm just showing you that you can do
Yeah.
lots of different things. I think the spokes of the wheel are where all the light is and where the interest is in terms of the luminosity. But yeah, tons you can do here. One thing, whose picture was this?
Joanne.
Okay, Joanne, when you take your picture, just make sure in the Lightroom app that you're photographing with a 3:2 or a 4:3 aspect ratio. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Because I noticed a few of you, when you sent me your pictures, the aspect ratios were square, for example. You may have done that intentionally, but I don't think you did. And pick up your phones, please, for a second. Go into the Lightroom app. and open the camera. And then let me know once everyone's there. So I'm going to open our Lightroom app. Hopefully we're now pretty familiar with getting to the camera. Everyone there? Okay. And once you're there, on the top right-hand corner of the screen, I'm not going to bother sharing my iPhone because I think this is so easy for you to do. On the top right-hand corner of the screen is 3 little dots. Tap on the dots. It's going to open up a whole menu. The very first one on the left is the aspect ratio.
See what?
So you tap the dots, Charlie, on the
Yeah.
top right.
Yeah.
Then you'll see a whole load of symbols and numbers and things come up. If you go all the way to the left of that row, it hopefully says 3 by 2.
I don't have that. I have square grid, justified grid, all different things.
Do you have anything that says like a number? Like
No.
16 by 9, 3 by 2, 4 by 3, 1 by 1?
Nope.
What happens when you click on the grid, Charlie? What's the option?
Go to the grid.
Yeah, what you just read out.
It just gives me an arrow, I mean a check mark.
And that's just to show the grid. Are you seeing any other symbols when you hit the 3 dots? Just make sure you're hitting the 3 dots on the top right-hand corner.
Nope.
Has everyone else got it?
Can you remind me what you're looking at? Sorry, I lost track of.
Yeah, no problem. So you're gonna open your
Are you on
Lightroom.
the iPad or are you the
iPhone.
You're just trying to find how to change your aspect ratio?
I'm just showing
Yeah.
people how to change
Okay.
it.
There's a little arrow, sometimes a toggle at the bottom that you gotta flip into too.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I have square grid and justified grid.
that's okay. So you've got the same as Charlie, but you don't see the aspect
That's under
ratio.
my view options.
Yeah, I don't want you to go there. So hold on. Hold on. Open the camera as if you're going to take a picture.
Yeah.
Okay. When you open the camera, I can't see myself here. When you open the camera, let me just stop sharing the screen for a second. When you open the camera, I want you to go and click on the 3 dots that are on the very top right-hand corner.
I have 6 dots.
Oh, you have 6 dots. Okay.
That's the newer camera. Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, so maybe I'm on an old version then. So my one, when I click on the 3 dots, I get a row of things that I can change. And one of them, the first one in the row, is the aspect ratio. Has anyone got that, or am I the only person? Susie's got it. Okay, half of us have got it.
I don't.
Leave it to me. I'm going to go and investigate. I'm going to update my Lightroom app because
I just bought a new phone.
No. That's a good thing. As in, I think I'm on the old version and you're on the new version. To be honest, by default, you're all taking 3 by 2s. But I don't want you by accident changing the aspect ratio because then you're gonna lose space that you would otherwise gain. You're not using the full sensor on the back of your camera. Okay. So
Do I want to be 4 by 3 or 3 by 2? I've got 4 by 3.
Put it on 3 by 2.
And why is that?
It's industry standard of what comes out of
Industry is 3 by 2.
Yeah, it's like think about it. The most popular frame size is.
I just figured it out. Sorry.
Oh, hold on, Kim. Give me 1 sec. Let me just finish my point, and then you can share that.
Okay.
Thank you. So 3 by 2, reason being, Jenny, think about the most popular frame size on the planet by a mile to print photos is 6 by 4. It's just 3 times 2 and 2 times 2. 6 by 4. Kim, go for it.
Okay, you ready? Okay,
Yeah.
so the people with the new phones where they open up the little grid and the bottom shows up with aspect.
Are you in Lightroom now?
No, I was just in the camera, I thought.
In the camera. So open Lightroom, go in the camera app.
I'm just in the camera, but I just want to tell you real quick, Adam. Now it's really strange, and you tap the aspect icon 1 time, and it changes. You'll see the grids behind it. The grids change. And so it's like the first one is square, then you can see it again. It must be 3 by 4, and then it taps into it's really, really strange. I can share my screen, but
And what are you and Kim, just for everyone's benefit, what are you tapping on to toggle between those grids?
So,
Oh, I
You
see.
tapping on aspect?
yeah, so this is aspect. Do you see
Aspect.
that? Now see the little grids behind me? See how they change like up and down? Should have turned off my notifications. So I think it starts at square here, goes to 4 by 3 or 3 by 4, and then the big one.
Hold on. I think I realized why we're all doing different. Kim, are you in the Lightroom app or are you on the Apple just normal
Well,
camera?
that's why I was asking you, is this light? This is how you do it in the camera.
In Apple, yeah. I was showing you how to
Yeah.
do it in Lightroom.
Okay. Okay,
So
we'll do
so I
that
agree.
now.
I have the same as you there. But I don't want to change it there. I want to change it in the Lightroom app.
But it is different there too. So okay, now to
So hold
Lightroom.
on. So let's all go to the Lightroom app.
So keep the camera at 4 by 3.
Well, hold on. We're conflating two things here.
Yeah, that's your typical most screen
Yes,
app.
Okay.
but hold on. But I want you to all go to the Lightroom app. Yes.
Okay.
So not the normal camera. I want you to go to the camera through the Lightroom app. So I want you to open Lightroom and then open the camera, the little blue camera down on the bottom corner. Because this is ideally how I want us to be taking photos. Everyone got to that app?
Mm-mm.
Charlie, where you start? What do you see? Tell me what you see.
No photos found. Manage access and settings.
Okay, down at the bottom, do you see where it says device or Lightroom or community inside the Lightroom app?
No.
Flash your phone up, Charlie, to the screen. Let's have a look. Go a little bit up.
Hmm?
Have you ever used the camera there, Charlie, in the Lightroom app?
No, I don't.
Oh, fine. Okay, well then don't, yeah, because it looks like it's just you haven't got it set up. It's like it wants you to sign in. So you will do yours the same as we've been doing it as Kim just showed you. Yeah, Kim, you're in the right place, exactly. But remember, everyone, there's two ways
I
to
have to
take
jump though.
photos.
I'll see you guys.
There's two ways to take photos on your phone. One is using the normal Apple camera. One is using the Lightroom camera. The advantage of using the Lightroom camera is A, you can control more of the settings. You can control shutter speed, you can control ISO, which is exactly, I think, Joanne, what you did, right? When you took the pictures. You were using the Lightroom app. The second advantageous reason of why I push people to use the Lightroom app, even though it's not that comfortable at the beginning, is because in the long run, all of your photos then come into your Lightroom Classic on your computer. You don't have to do anything. Whereas if you're taking things on the Apple side, which again, there's nothing wrong with doing, but they're staying in the Apple ecosystem. When I'm teaching a beginner's iPhone workshop, I don't even mention Lightroom. I do everything on like what can you do with the Apple camera. But for a more intermediate group like this, I want to push you to think about when I use my phone, ideally I want to keep everything in this Lightroom ecosystem because I've invested the time and effort to start learning about Lightroom on the computer. So if you take photos using the Lightroom app on your phone, they stay in the Lightroom sphere. If you take them in the Apple thing, they stay in the Apple photos in the Apple sphere. And Apple and Lightroom actually don't like each other very much, Apple and Adobe. So they try to
So
keep
if
things separate.
if you take the picture in Lightroom, it doesn't go into Apple.
No, but it goes into Lightroom. It goes so when you could take a picture, go on a walk today, take a picture using the Lightroom app, and if you had your Lightroom open on your computer, when you came home, the picture would be waiting for you.
Well,
So
it's waiting for me if I take it on the Apple.
it is,
Yeah.
it is, but the reason being is what you can do with the Lightroom app on the phone, and also what you can do with Lightroom afterwards is tenfold, 20-fold what you can do with an Apple photo. One is that you can control all the settings on a Lightroom camera. So let's just say you wanted to photograph a bird and you tried to do it using the native Apple camera. That's very hard because you can't control the shutter speed. But you can if you use the Lightroom app. The second reason is when you get back to your computer, yes, they're waiting for you in Apple Photos, but my recommendation and what I'm trying to kind of encourage you guys to do is keep as much as you can in the Lightroom ecosystem for your, let's call it serious photography. Anything you're doing something and you're like taking a picture and like, I may want to do something with this, whether it's for my class, whether it's for a book, whether it's for a print you want to do, whether it's for a holiday card. I'd love for that to be in the Lightroom ecosystem. And any picture you take of a receipt or a letter or something in the grocery store, you should take that on the Apple camera. That never comes anywhere near Lightroom. That stays in Apple. Your serious stuff stays in Lightroom. That's generally my recommendation of how I set up an iPhone photography workflow for someone who's a bit more intermediate and advanced. Does that make sense to everyone?
How do you get it into Apple from Lightroom?
Great question. You have to, it's not easy. It's much easier to get it into Apple, sorry, to get it into Lightroom from Apple than to get it the other way around. When it's in Lightroom, you have to export it out of Lightroom and then you have to import it into Apple. But why would you want to do that, Charlie? What's the reason to do that?
Oh, I don't know, because I send a lot of pictures to people that I know.
But you can do that from the Lightroom app. You just got to get used to it. It's just unfamiliar. And that's in fact, Jenny just got up. I was going to say I was helping Jenny last week. She had this exact dilemma. She didn't know. Jenny, hopefully you can attest now to the advantage of using Lightroom rather than the Apple photo. And it is a learning curve at the beginning because you're used to like doing everything in Apple. But in the long run, you can still send photos to friends. You can text the photos straight from your phone. You can do everything. You're just kind of splitting your photography between like the serious stuff and the stuff that's like documenting life. And the big advantage I would say out of everything is that you can control the camera on the Lightroom app.
But this is more iPhone photography
Yes, I'm
discussion, isn't
talking
it?
total iPhone here. I'm not talking about your cameras at all.
Yeah, as opposed to focus stacking and all that.
Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah.
We just went down a 5 minute rabbit hole talking about it because I saw that picture that Joanne took on her iPhone. Because some of you send me pictures. Sometimes you take them on your camera. Sometimes you take them on your phone. I just
Yes.
wanted to make sure that on your phone you're using it correctly. Okay. Jenny, what do you think of the Lightroom app now? Is it getting better? A bit more comfortable?
It is getting better. I took some photographs this weekend of kids climbing on a wall face, and I used my Lightroom camera, and then it did automatically appear in my Lightroom, and I could develop it from there. So it was fun to try it. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, Jenny and I
But I'm
spent an hour or so last week setting it up for her. So if you need any help, just let me know. But it is, I promise, and I wouldn't show it to you if I didn't think it was beneficial. Um, in the long term, most people who are getting the most out of their iPhone 17s, 16s, 15s are not using the Apple camera. They're using tons of other apps, but by far and away the most popular one is Lightroom.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I
Anyway,
probably need a little lesson.
it's all right. Yeah, we can just shoot me a message, Charlie. We'll spend some time. As I had Jenny set up in an hour. We had her all set up from scratch just to get everything talking to each other and make sure. And each of your computers also are going to be slightly individual in terms of how you've had things set up in the past. But yeah, I can help where needs be. And like, for example, Joanne, now you're taking most of your photos on the Lightroom app when you're using your iPhone.
No, I've still been using my phone,
Oh, but the ones you shared, you
but
took.
I will practice. I'll practice.
But the ones you shared with these ones, the one of the flower, was that
I think
taken up?
those were all on my phone.
Oh, all on your phone. Okay, so you had no control over the shutter speed. This was luck. So
No.
I want to remove that kind of luck equation and go back to that phrase that the best camera is the 2 inches behind it. It's you. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, on the Lightroom app, I'll give you, I mean, you're never going to have to do this, but if you want to, you can take the shutter speed of your iPhone camera up to 1/10,000 if
I
you
see
needed
that.
to.
Yeah.
You can take the shutter speed down to like 1 second if you wanted to do a soft, silky waterfall. If you just point your normal Apple camera at something, its only job that it cares about primarily is giving you the correct brightness. It has no idea if you're taking a picture of a hummingbird, plate of sushi, or I don't know, a Gatorade bottle. So you being in control just gives you a lot more optionality when it comes to that, and a lot more control. And that leans into this whole thing you hear me talking about being more intentional when you take your photos. If you're getting the composition and everything great, but you're letting Apple set all the settings. And especially if those flowers had been blowing in the wind, Joanne, they probably would have ended up being blurred.
No, totally.
If you're taking it in the Lightroom app, you're like, they're blowing in the wind. I just need to speed up my shutter, exactly like you would do on your camera.
Camera. Mhm.
Yeah. So it basically just makes your iPhone like having a second camera. More like what you guys are used to in terms of changing shutter speed and ISO and all those things. Okay? Anyone got any questions on that? Cool. Okay, so let's reshare the screen. Let's take a look at. So the spoke of the wheel one, good, but I just would have gone closer. Let's look at this one. This one's really pretty. Definitely an interesting interpretation of pattern and repetition. I think our eye very naturally goes up to the red roof of the barn. Again, so this one was taken on a camera. Settings look good. 1250, f9, 100. Now I may have lifted up the f number a little bit in this picture to provide a bit of a greater depth of field. But then I don't know if I need it because arguably, do you want these like tankers in the back to be sharp? Probably not. If you went up to f11, f14, f18, then they're going to get more and more sharp and they're going to become, I already think they're conflicting a little bit, but they're going to become a bit more of a conflicting subject. Nice use of filling the bottom 2/3 of the frame with this like marsh, and there's a clear S curve running through here. This was me, I'd probably offset the hut a little bit more to the right. Just not quite so centered, just to help the flow for us to get up there. And in truth, I'd probably go in and I'd take out these tankers.
I would too.
Mhm.
Because I think straight away, and I've just done it really quickly there using the remove tool. You guys know where this is in Lightroom. Hasn't done the perfect job, but I could go over it a couple of times. It'd be perfect. But I just feel that they're a little bit distracting back there. Without them, again, this photo, there's so many ways you could have taken it. You could have leaned into like the really big booming sky and had just, I can't recreate it, but you could have had the bottom of the image being basically just hut and then big booming clouds in front of it. But I like in this case for the pattern how he included this kind of marshland at the front. I would just keep an eye out for the focal point not being too centered. A good job, who was this one? Susie, nice. Good. What time of day was this, Susie? The light's very nice.
It was sort of midday.
Oh, interesting. It looks like you're a little bit later in the day. The light looks so again, I would say if it was midday, if you went back to this spot 3-4 hours later, you're going to get even more dramatic shadowing of this like old rickety barn and like coming over the water. You can see the reflection starting to come out here. It's very pretty, and you were lucky because the sun just came out of the cloud and kind of was illuminating the barn. Notice that the light is behind Susie, which is generally where we want it to be. So it's the red, like look how like vivid the red looks, and everything is really lit up very nicely. Susie, if you wanted to want to trick it and make it seem like it was taken in more golden light, two ways of doing that. You can either increase the temperature slightly, only needs a hint to the right. This recreates golden light as if we were there at golden hour. Like you can see, that's pretty blue. And the other way to do it is you can actually come down to the color grading down here, which is adding more color. It's like having a pot of paints next to your picture, and you're going to like pick up on a certain color and paint it in. And the cheap way, this is a real pro photographer's hack. If you want to make something look like it was, if you were somewhere and it was 1 o'clock, but you wish you'd been there at 6 o'clock, but you just couldn't practically be there. If you go and choose this far circle on the right here, which says global, so this is shadows, midtones, highlights. This is basically saying I'm just going to add a new color into one of these areas. But if you go global, and you grab this little circle in the middle and you drag it out into the oranges and the yellows. It instantly makes it look like you're at golden hour. And the more you go, the more like don't go like this. The more you go to the edge of the circle, the more saturated the color is that you're putting in. But this can be very, very minor. I usually would go to about there. Doesn't need any more than that. That's the original picture. That's the new picture. It's subtle. Obviously, we took the tankers out as well. But you can
Nice.
see if you look at the water and everything, it's just got a little bit more of a golden hue to it. It's a great trick, especially for landscape photography, but for simulating golden light.
Yeah.
The one thing you don't get is you don't get the long shadows that you would get if you were there at 6 o'clock rather than midday, but it gives you that warmth in your photography, which can often help provide more depth because warmth is more dynamic range, which means more contrast, which means more clarity, which means more color. But really nice picture, very nice. Anyone got any questions on that little trick I just showed to?
No, it's a good one.
Susie, was that in this gadget?
Yeah.
Yes,
Where
I
is it?
painted the roof in red.
Oh, I was up there. That's a good shot.
So hold on. When you say you painted the roof in red, what color was the roof to begin with?
Oh, brown.
Oh, so you actually, this is artificial. You made the roof red.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
I
What,
just
and
thought
how,
it needed a little,
yeah,
pardon me?
it was a good choice. How did you paint it in? What did you use?
Oh gosh, what this 2 weeks ago. Let's see, what did I do? I think, um, well, maybe went to, did I go to the, I don't know
You
now.
do
Did
it
I
in
go to
photo?
the mask?
You probably masked it and then adjusted the color, but you could have done this in photo. You did it in Lightroom or Photoshop? Can you remember?
I think I did it in Lightroom.
Yeah, you probably created a mask, and I can see bits where you missed it. Look,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
see
yeah,
down this end.
definitely,
So that shows me that
definitely.
you use a mask. You just got to be careful that it covers it all, and then you adjust
Yeah.
it, and then you adjusted the color.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a
Yes,
smart choice. The one thing I would say is just be careful, like here,
yes,
like
yes.
it may have been a good call to paint the whole thing red.
Yeah, I
Or
debated about that. I didn't want it to be too
it may have become
overwhelming.
too overpowering because you also, it looks like, did you paint this bit on this side?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this was really creative, and I definitely like what you. I used to live in the Midwest, and I had an obsession with red barns. I used to go around everywhere trying to find these like old, random, rickety barns. So the red also helps because of just the color, the red and the blue of the sky, complementary, helps the barn stand out. But just watch out that you catch the whole mast.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Clean
again,
it
like
up a little.
let's say you printed this for a contest, this would be really obvious on
I'd
a
be
print.
busted.
You'd be busted, yeah. But it's a good use of a creative technique. Very good. Okay, cool. Let's go on to, and definitely repetition and pattern. Let's look at this one. One's really good. Nice job whoever took this one. Now this one, was this Joanne? Is this you again?
Yes, it's Joanne.
Okay, so this Joanne may well have taken on her Apple camera, her normal iPhone.
I
And
did
you did, yeah. And
while
this would
walking the dog.
And this would be the perfect opportunity where I would say, I'm going to use the Lightroom app on my phone.
Mhm.
Reason being is, as a reminder, we generally see as humans at about 1/100th of a second. So when you look at this reflection, this ripples, you don't see it like this. It doesn't look like this to our eye. The minute we start showing, I mentioned this a few times in a few different of the classes, the minute you start showing something that we don't see, then instantly your picture becomes more attractive. It becomes more interesting. And one trick is when there's water and ripples like this in some type of pond, is to speed up the shutter speed. And I would speed it up here. I would take the Lightroom app here, and I would take this even from 1/1000, and I'd go more like to 1/4000. And I'd take a picture of these ripples. it would need you to lift the ISO up to 200, which is fine. But you're going to see every little wave and pattern and line that we don't even notice. It's a great trick to practice if you're near a body. In fact, I was with Nancy last week. Nancy was in Florida, and we went to a Japanese gardens and we had a look at there was like ponds and still water. And we played with shutter speeds from like 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000. And when we got to the higher shutter speeds, you really start to be able to see interesting pattern and line and shape that is not evident when we look with our eye. I think Joanne's done a great job of capturing this. I just want you to go even further with the shutter speed. But it's definitely line and pattern and shape. What's it the reflection of? A boat?
It was different. There were a lot of little sailboats and just the masts.
Yeah, it's great. It almost looks like the ocean coming here, and this is like waves breaking like onto the shore in terms of, if that makes it, hopefully you guys can see that. But this is like a body of water with the waves like breaking to the right. But really nice job of, again, not showing us what was up here, not showing us the sailboats, just focusing in on the reflection.
I live by a yacht club, so it's always fun with the water.
Yeah, so this would
Lots of
be a
reflections.
good one for you to try, Joanne. Go in the Lightroom app, try like playing around with like twisting the camera, like speed, like, and you instantly going to start to create really interesting abstract compositions, especially if you go late in the day, because then you start to get kind of the color in the water as well from the sun, if the sun's out. So you'll start to get more interesting tone and color. But nice job, really good. Look at this one.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, this one's great. This one looks like it's come out the upside down world. It's the light in this is great. Really good, again, for repetition and pattern. Very nice kind of sculpture. This is Rembrandt lighting. You remember me talking about Rembrandt lighting? This flower or this plant has Rembrandt lighting on it. The light's coming from kind of up to the side, down on the flower. And it's very nice on here that the focal point, the sharpness, is right in the center. Good job on getting that. My only thing is the focal point a little bit too much I mean, it is smack bang in the middle. Now, there's one argument, one school of thought that would say that's great. I want to do that because I'm leaning into the symmetry. And generally, when we have something symmetrical, we put the focal point in the middle, and then everything kind of spirals out, mirrors out from there. I just want you to think about that because the default, what most people do is they put it symmetrical. They put it smack bang in the middle like this. Almost identical to what we did to the spoke of the wheel. Like you could easily do this instead. Again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I just want you to have the options. Yeah, well, let's do a show of hands. Who thinks the one on the left is better? Okay, half of you. Who thinks the one on the right?
I like the one on the left. It feels more photographed, like it's a well done photograph.
Yeah, it feels a bit more intentional. Also, I would argue the one on the right, your eye wanders. There's a lot of places for your eye to wander, especially onto that top right. Whereas by
I'm curious, what is it?
It's a lily pad. It's from a garden that I took, and I intentionally put it in the middle because I liked the light, the play of the light.
But you're still getting
better than
light. You're still getting the light. And again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. This is a coin flip, this one.
Yeah.
You could show it to 50, like some professional photographers would say, I like that one. I like both. I'm just showing you that you don't always, unless something is very symmetrical, a rule that I would follow is I would veer away from, I would veer away from putting the focal point in the middle.
Yeah.
But settings wise, Jenny's done a really nice job. Shutter speed, smack bang in our comfort zone. Lifted her F number a little bit, which was very good. That was a wise choice here to allow the majority of this Lilith It's interesting. What's the lily pad sitting? Oh, I see. It's the center of a lily pad. And then,
It is. It's floating a little bit.
yeah, it's very, very nice. Um, but you can see F8. Look how, oops, because look how the focus is here and then starts. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. I think this works, but I just want you guys to understand the theory. Look how the focus is getting softer and softer and softer as I follow this line back. That's because that thing is getting further away from the camera than where Jenny put her square, right in the middle. Now, this photo, if the whole thing was sharp, would it look better? I don't think so. I think it looks much more intentional to have the bit in the really nice light, nice and tack sharp, and then everything else you can see like back here is all blurry. But I think that works. I think this is excellent, Jenny. It's a really good spot. And well done for filling the frame, not showing us the whole lily pad. Very good. Take a look at this one. Got a few more to see. This one, definitely repetition and line. Almost trying to figure out how you took this. Are you looking down on the ocean?
I was looking down on it's in the canyon and it just splashes back up. I can't, I think that's all water in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is water, but I'm trying to figure out, are you looking down like this?
Yes.
Or is it
Yes, I'm
straight
looking
down
down.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good use of shifting perspective. That again makes us think. I like the inclusion of the cliff or the rock just in the lower third of the frame. I think, Jenny, you could have gone even further here with the shutter speed. You had plenty of light. I would have been interested to speed this up even a little bit more, up to kind of the 1/1000s, 1/2000s, just to see every little speckle of water in here. Try to recreate it. Kind of hard to do, but you can kind of see there. I've overdone it a bit. You get the idea. But the lighting's great. I love the color. I love the abstractness of it. This one may look interesting if we flip it. Let's have a look. Yeah. I kind of like it how you had it, but no one would have any idea what that was if you showed it to them. It looks like Edvard Munch's The Scream. Does any of you know that painting?
Yeah.
That's it. But really very good capture, Jenny, and definitely again pattern and line. I just would have upped the shutter speed a little bit more here to try to freeze the water just a tad more. And then this one we looked at last time as a class, but I didn't actually comment on it. We just used it for focus stacking. But again, this is Jenny's as well. This is really good in terms of layering. Kind of reminds us of that guy, Andreas Gursky. Remember the person who's done the Rhine picture? I've shown you the 99 cents picture. I've shown you the various photos he's done where he uses layering. And the layering is a very popular technique. This, by layering, I mean these like horizontal lines taking us back to the photo. It's a very strong technique when it comes to getting that repetition and pattern in our pictures. Really nice job. And I like that you didn't show everything here as well. What even are these? Are these the oars of a boat? What are they? The oars of a boat?
They're shells. They're yeah.
What are they?
They're I just got them on the phone. They're boat shells.
Oh, nice.
They're boats. They're little boats.
They're little boats. So the other thing as well is by doing this, we have no idea, which is kind of interesting because it makes us look at this and ask questions, is we have no idea of the scale here. Like, is Jenny showing us like big boats? Is she macroed in on something tiny? You've got no idea. And that makes you ask questions. This photo as well would look really good in black and white, Jenny. You could play with doing a black and white conversion on this one because you've got really good light. But very nice job on repetitive line and pattern and shape. Good. This was the one I focused at before. This one's interesting. Very interesting. So the first one we've looked at today that's more kind of set up to create these like interesting patterns and obviously these pine cones, looking down on them gives us instantly a more interesting perspective. Where do we think, Nancy, the light's coming from in this picture?
From behind
Behind the photographer or behind the subject?
behind the subject.
Okay. Who took it? Joanne, is this yours?
Yes,
Okay, where and tell Nancy where's the light coming from?
up above,
Yeah.
straight down.
Yeah.
So it's coming from
That's outside on my patio
it's like
table.
it almost looks like it's coming through a skylight. And the reason we know it's coming from directly above is look at the lack of shadows. There's no shadows falling off these pine cones at all. So that's always whenever you see a picture and you don't see any shadows coming off the subject, you know that the light source is top down. It's coming like from a skylight or coming from outside, and the sun's right up here and it's coming right down through a window or like onto the subject. I think that gives the illusion that these are floating a little bit. They don't necessarily feel as grounded. Generally, when we photograph a still life, something like this, a setup, I would want to see some form of shadowing coming off the subject. And this is all to do with just waiting for the right light. As the sun had moved Joanne, it would have started creating shadowing over this, or you've taken this at a different time of day. The concept here is excellent. The execution is pretty good in terms of like how they're positioned and the focus is great. I just feel like by having the absence of shadows, it almost feels like we've just picked up these pine cones and photoshopped them onto a green background. They kind of just look like they're floating. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mhm.
They look a bit 2D. We call it in photography, the word we use it is they look, there's a word we use called vectorized. They look like there's something called vector art, and vector art is like when something is very like two-dimensional, it doesn't look like it's 3D. So in this particular case, I would have reshot it or waited when the light was coming from a slight angle down. So if this was Joanne taking her picture, and here's, hopefully you guys can see me. Here's her light source, my flashlight. It was like up here, creating no shadowing. I would have just waited till it started to come down, started creating shadows. There's the shadow of my hand over my face. Up here, I don't see anything. You see that used a lot in like if you flick through a cookbook or food photography, and they often do top-down pictures of, I don't know, a bowl of soup or a salad. You'll always see that there's shadowing on one side of the bowl. And also that brings shadowing into the scene. That brings shadowing into the lettuce and the tomato and the cucumber and whatever's on the salad. And it makes it look more three-dimensional. It's more, we call it directional light. So good learning lesson there. And again, I don't know if Joanne did this, but I would have been very interested to start kind of going closer, kind of the same as we did with the wheel. Maybe putting these like and just focusing on like making the focal point, maybe this one on the bottom, yeah, and not showing the heart. And then this would have been a great one, by the way. I know you're outside, but if this was inside, this is a great opportunity to tether, because you take this picture and you're like, and you look at it at the computer and you're like, I don't like that space. So all you do is you move over here, you put these two closer together, and then you retake the picture. And I don't like that space. And then you move it closer together. And then you're like, oh, maybe this one needs more breathing room. So you move it further away. Very hard to do that when you're shooting and you're just looking at the camera screen. But nice job, Joanne, on finding these interesting pine cones with definitely.
I've never seen them, and I was walking the dog again, and they were up at one of these houses, and I brought a bunch of them home because I thought they were fascinating.
Yeah, they almost look like this. They almost look like the center of a rose, right? They look like
because they're very shallow. They're barely an inch deep.
Yeah, really interesting. Like, look at the line and subject there. Good job. Very good. What did you, out of interest, Joanne, just for everyone's benefit, what was the background here? What was underneath them?
Oh, I have a green canvas cloth on our table outside to
Okay,
protect it.
perfect. So it was the tabletop back because like you can see there's also some interesting, and this is often nice. You can see that there's some texturing in that background. It's not just a plain green background, which again adds dimension. This one's a real storytelling picture.
I love it. This is it.
Really cool. So nice job on, look at the rule of thirds here. The feathers are like right along that line. Nice job. Probably the two most important feathers are on the nodal point up here, pointing into the frame, which is excellent. Again, I have no idea what this is, which is good because it's making me ask questions. I could go and use my lens distortion parallax error fix here. See the difference there? When I hit auto, and it just straightened that up a little bit. And then if I needed to do any more corrections, I could get this nice and straight and I can move it to where I want to move it. Often when you do that, can you see how I got the checkerboard on the side there? You'll lose some information just because you're just moving the canvas like this way or moving it this way. This is easy. You just crop it out. So don't worry about that. But this is great. Whose was this one?
Mine.
Susie. Where is it? What is it?
It's a door in Santa Fe, and it's they had these feathers sticking out of the door, and I just thought the texture and the colors were remarkable.
Yeah. It definitely is creative. I even like the different textures in the wood, the texture on the left compared to the grain of the wood here. Kind of the feathers and the wood play off each other very nicely. Again, I'd watch the edge of your frame just a bit there, Susie, on the side. But this is really nicely done. Now, can you remember, Susie, did you say this using the Lightroom app on your phone or just the Apple camera?
This was just the Apple camera. This was a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah, I can tell that because the
Yeah.
shutter speed was 1/80th. Now that's okay because the feathers and the doors aren't moving. But it's getting into a territory where potentially the movement of our hand could make the picture a tiny bit blurry. And Apple does that the whole time. You'll see like a prompt coming up saying, hold still, please hold still, try to hold steady. That's because they're trying to slow down the shutter speed to get in enough light, and they realize that you're moving because everyone moves when you take a picture. Your hand is just slightly moving. But this is great. I think one thing you could have done here, Susie, to kind of improve this is you could have masked. Again, I'm doing this pretty fast. Shift M. I would have maybe drawn a mask over some of these feathers. And I think I just would have brought out a little bit of the detail in them so you can see the colors. So just even here by just lifting the shadows, you're starting to see that there's those blues and which I didn't really see before. Increase the texture slightly, put a little tone curve on them. Straight away, I think those feathers now look not so much like a kind of a black mass.
Yeah,
You could see a little
more
bit more.
three-dimensional.
Yeah, and also you're getting the color that you weren't getting before. Just lifted
I
the
like
shot. Just lifted the shot. And I really like that. And again, this is kind of more luck than judgment, but again, orange and blue, complementary colors on the color wheel. They sit on opposite ends. You see the color wheel. Where is it? There we go. So you got orange on one side, blue on the other side. We love complementary color palettes because it's very pleasing to our eye. This is great. It's really good. Very interesting. This would be a good contest entry one for GCA because it's abstract. And there's tons of application. This could be an intimate landscape, for example.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it
I
could be.
don't think the judges will get that.
You don't think they get you don't think they get that?
Well, they
I
need
don't
to.
know.
Well, the definition of an intimate landscape, right, is you don't see the horizon, you don't see the sky. So why is this not an intimate landscape?
There's no landscape.
Well, it's the vignette
as
of
in real land.
a landscape doesn't have to be natural, does it? Like if you take a picture of the, I don't know, of the market in downtown Seattle, what's it called? Pike Market? Arguably,
Yes.
that's a landscape.
I think
But
the judge
maybe that's me
grapple
being
with that.
overly artistic. But I'll have to go back and read the GCA guidelines on that.
Yeah, I will too, because that's a great idea, Adam. Thank you.
I mean, there's the obvious like fill the frame, texture, line, like all of those would be great for. But yeah, that whole intimate. I feel like as well, GCA have these tiered like levels of what landscape means. I think they've got. I have to remember off the top of my head. They've got landscape, then they've got intimate landscape, and then there's another one which is like one down from that, which I can't remember what the verbiage is. But there's like three. If you look at that, what's the big book you have that I can't remember what you
The
got?
yellow book.
The yellow pages. That's it. If you look in the yellow book, the yellow page, and you look at landscape, there's definitely, I just can't remember off the top of my head. There's three definitions that GCA give of landscapes. I only know this because a while ago I was helping someone and they were umming and ahhing about entering something into an intimate landscape one, and it was just
Well, that's
literally a
hard to
picture,
show.
a reflection in a puddle with a little bit of the street showing, and they entered it and it did really well in the contest, which they wouldn't have necessarily thought to enter it because obviously we think intimate landscapes. I'm going to show a pond in a Japanese garden, and I'm just not going to show the sky. Have a look at the definition. I may be wrong, but
I'm going to look it up while
yeah,
we're talking. I'll look it
okay,
up.
while you're talking, look it up, and I'll go on to the next one. Look at this one. This one's great. Really good. Very nice job, whoever took this. Again, I would have probably taken over the shutter speed and gone with a slightly faster shutter speed, but really interesting. Showing, I actually even really like this. I wouldn't remove this. I'd keep it. I kind of like this one bubble sitting out there.
Mhm.
I think it kind of helps fill the negative space here. And again, this like very naturally brings you down to the bottom right-hand corner of the picture.
Looks like a bull's face.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Are you seeing the face here? And this is the
In the
snout.
ear up there.
And then
Yeah.
one ear, two
The
ears.
air,
Oh,
yeah, there.
Good one.
Yeah, nice spot, Charlene. It's amazing when you take these things like this and you see it in like the knots and grain of trees and in rivers, and you see it in clouds, obviously. But yeah, you often find like faces and shapes, but yeah, I see it almost looks like I would even say it looks more like a zebra, or a horse. But yeah, it's got like a little thin snout. But nice job. Very good. And definitely repetitive line. Whose was this one?
Fine.
Nice job, Susie. Good.
Yes.
Very good. And what was causing this reflection? Can you remember?
It was, I was at the docks and I looked down in the water and that was what I saw. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. So this is a great looking down perspective, kind of like how Jenny looked down on the waves. We often miss so much stuff by walking around like a blinkered horse. Don't forget to look up and don't forget to look down. Very good. Okay. That is the end. Now that is the end of repetition and pattern. Perfect. So now let's take a look at the focus stacks. Okay. Actually, let's start with Joanne's one here because Joanne had some questions about this. So this is Joanne's effort at focus stacking. Okay.
Effort.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Joanne, but I believe your dog looks that dog looks almost exactly like my dog.
A Bichon.
He's a Bichon now. Mine's a Cavapoo, but very similar face. So you were trying here to get the cabinets, the vase, and the picture behind everything sharp, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But
So
focusing on those three parts,
yeah,
which
one.
is not enough of a change, I think. I was
Great.
told I'd do it right.
Yeah, I mean a few different things. So firstly, look at your settings. You're on a tripod, so your settings were about half a second, 0.4 a second, f9, ISO 640. That's okay. That's giving you like enough of a depth of field, and you weren't shooting at too high a focal length. Now, interestingly, when I look at this picture, which I presume is the put together picture that you're sending me, the sharp is thin. is that. If you actually look at the cabinet at the front, especially this one, it's pretty blurry. But a couple of questions. When you took the pictures with the slow shutter speed, were you pressing the button on the camera or were you using the timer?
I pressed the button, but I did not stack them.
Oh, you didn't stack them.
No,
Fine.
this is,
Oh, you
I,
took this as a question of how would you stack it?
right, I wasn't,
Okay. Well, first thing is when you push the button on your camera, you shook the camera. So
I had it on a tripod.
it doesn't matter. When you
Yeah.
touch the button, you create a little shake. Whenever you go to a slow shutter speed, ideally, we want to change the drive, what's called the drive mode on the camera to be on like a 2 second timer. So you press my camera's not here, but you press the button and then you're like, and then it goes beep, beep, takes the picture and your hands are totally off the camera. Because when we press the button, especially your shutter speed wasn't really slow here, but if you go to the 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you create a little shake because you're applying force to the camera to take the picture. So we either use the timer, which is what most people do, or a lot of people have remotes and they use remotes when they
Right.
use slow shutter speeds. And again, they're
I
not
have.
touching the camera. But yeah, to answer your question, Joanne, here what you would have done, remember we're working from front to back. So we're working from what's closest to us to what's furthest away. So I would have actually set this up on a tripod and then I would have walked around and I would have looked at the scene from the side to help me ascertain the distances between all these things. Remember, I showed you my hands last time and I said, like, when my hands are like this, you can't really tell how far away they are from the camera. Like, you can tell they're like one's in front of the other, but you can't. The minute I go like this, actually, let me stagger my hands. So the minute I go like this, you see the difference. This one is far closer. If I was taking the picture from over here, this one was far closer than this. With the settings you've got here, Joanne, F9, I think you could have focus stacked this. One on the cabinets. Two, I probably would have gone on the vase. Three, I probably would have gone on the back of the wall. I think you'd get it in that. Because also
And that's what I did, but then I was working with a teacher and she said I didn't do it right. And so I never tried stacking them. So yeah, that's why I sent it as a question.
oh yeah, no, so this would have been photo one, this would have been photo two, this would have been photo three, working backwards. That would have been the right way to do it. This is a bit of a tricky one to do because it's actually quite easy because there's not that much distance between all the objects. If this back wall was 10 feet back and then you had, I don't know, a chair sitting in front of the cabinet here, then you'd have more depth in the scene and there would be a need to take more photos. But this at F9, like, I mean, your first photo would kind of get all of this. Your second photo would kind of probably get all of that. And your third photo would get like the back, like up there. I think you'd get it perfect in 3 frames on this. Give it another go if this is in your
I'll
house.
try it. Thank you.
But remember, the key is you have to work your way from front to back. So like these stems, I can't tell, I don't think they are. But if the vase was a little bit further forward on the mantle here, those stems would be sticking out and they would be the closest thing to the camera because they're kind of sticking out the vase going like this. In which case you would then start here if the vase was like right on the edge of the countertop. Does that make sense? Because the flowers would be coming closer to the camera.
Right.
So it's just always remember you've got to go from front to back. But yeah, I would definitely try focus stacking this one again. Look at this one. This one's really interesting. It's 95% of the way there, this one. It's really close. You can see that the image is falling off just a little bit back here. Just a tad. A true focus stack picture would necessarily have all of this in focus. But again, do you remember I said like, and I showed you pictures last time of like bugs and flowers and they were focus stacked, but the background was still really blurry. Because let's just say you wanted to focus stack me. You'd put square here, square here, square here. And if you didn't care about the background, you wouldn't put a square on my back wall. You just leave it. If you wanted to, you could do an extra one. So there's nothing wrong with this. And I think this is really good. But if the objective was to get sharpness from front to back, and this is kind of, I can't even tell what this is. Is it a leaf?
The
Yeah.
skeleton leaf. But Adam, my question is, you said 3 to 5 photos. I found sometimes I needed to take like 8 or 9, like for this because it's so detailed.
And also,
Um,
were you using your macro lens when you took this?
yes.
Yeah, so that's why you need to take more because your macro lens, A, you're zoomed in, but B, you're
Depth of
compressing
field.
the depth of field. So think about if you had your normal your normal like lens,
Okay.
everyday lens, then straight away your depth of field is like this. So imagine this is the front and this is the back. So if your
Yes.
depth of field's like this, you only need kind of 1, 2, 3 to get the whole thing. If you suddenly
Yes.
put on your macro lens and the depth of field's like this, then you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever to get
Totally
back
makes
to back.
sense. Yeah.
And that's the reason why. And do you remember I said to you, I've got friends and there's photographers who will take 2, 3, 400 pictures of a ring or an insect or of something really
Okay.
detailed. It's because they're really zoomed in, they're really macro, they're really close, and there's so much detail that they want to capture. Remember, I also mentioned that a lot of your cameras will auto focus stack for you. And you could do
Mm.
like 100, 200, 300 pictures. It's completely unnecessary. You don't need that. It's overkill. But I would agree with you, Susie, that a picture like this using seven, and you just probably just didn't do enough towards
Yes,
the end.
exactly.
What is a skeleton leaf? This is I thought you'd Photoshop this to like make it look like this.
No, just a leaf that's decomposed.
Oh, this would have been good for decay.
Yeah.
And then did you put the black background or is it sitting on
Yeah,
something?
I put it on a black background.
When you took the picture or afterwards?
No, afterwards. Oh
Afterwards,
no, I took the picture on the black background. Yes, I
yeah, because I was
did.
going to say this would be very hard to put it on afterwards because of all the little
Right.
skeleton
Right.
stuff. I love the little hole in the leaf. Here is really nice. Again, I like the kind of direction of it, pointing upwards, like leads you through the frame. Yeah, it's really good. But you can see, like, look here, you can see that you didn't get the focus back there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perfect example of where the computer tries to put it together, but it didn't have a sharp bit there to do it. So it just kind of made it look smudgy. You see how it looks kind of just, that's not a good word.
Using my 2470 would have been the key right here. Yeah.
Or just shooting
And
more pictures with a macro.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
yeah.
can do either. I'd argue that the macro would actually be a better way of doing it because you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get more detail and you're going to be able to get closer. It just
Okay.
involves a little bit more work. And this one, Susie, when you eventually get into tethering, would be a perfect example of why I would
Yes.
recommend tethering because you
Yes.
take one here and you zoom in as your camera's plugged in and you check, that's in focus. Great. I can move over to here, take the picture, do the next one. And as you're kind of working your way back in the leaf, you're making
Mm-hmm.
sure that you've got added, and the planes of focus should ideally overlap by like a third. So if this is one plane of
Oh,
focus,
okay.
you don't want to just jump and like, and you can't see this, but you kind of learn it with the F numbers. And if in doubt, you're always better to take more rather than less. I see so many times when I teach focus stacking, you see this smudgy bit back here, everyone, in there.
Yeah.
That smudgy bit will like be in the middle. There'll just be like a random slice of, and it's because the camera was putting everything together and putting everything together, and there was nothing to put together here, and then it jumped, and it didn't have the information because the planes of focus weren't overlapped enough.
So Adam, theoretically, I could have taken 50 of this, 50
Yeah,
focused. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
could have taken 100 if you wanted to. Yeah.
How many did you stack?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to
7.
look on my Photoshop, probably 8 or
Yeah, I
something.
was going
Yeah,
to say
7 or 8.
it looks like about 7 or 8 to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no. I mean, the only limit
Yeah.
with this is time. It's your time.
Yeah.
Like a professional photographer who's like in a studio doing this will take 10, 15, 20, 30 photos because they know they want absolutely everything sharp and it's a small, very detailed thing.
Mhm.
So this is a good, like, if you find something interesting like this decaying leaf, if you find a interesting floral arrangement or something that you want to photograph and you want to spend 10, 20 minutes with it, get it in the good light or wait for the good light and then focus that and try. The actual method doesn't take very long because all you're doing, your
No.
camera's on a tripod, you're just moving the square. You're not, remember, you're not changing any settings when you do this. Don't change shutter speed, don't change aperture, and don't change ISO. All you're doing, and don't change your composition. All you're doing is moving the square. But really nice job. Looks great, Susie. Very good.
Thank you.
Take a look at this one. Beautiful. Now, compositionally on this one, my eye is torn a little. The kind of the light and the color and everything's great. My eye is torn between the center of the flower
Mm-hmm.
and like the stamen. I can't the fuzzy. You call them stamen, right? The fuzzy bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost feel like I would have shifted the center of the flower and the composition up here to give these a little bit more room to breathe. It's a little bit tight here, and I feel like the focal point comes in
Yes.
here.
Yes.
And that shouldn't be the focal point here. The focal point should be that leading you down to the stamen, which are in these lovely, like interesting light. Again, really nice job on the focus stacking here. I think this is, can you see in, this is an example. Remember I said sometimes you see when you do this that you'll get smudgy bits randomly in your picture. Hold on, I'll show you. So look in here. I'll draw it. Get good color. Let's do it in blue. So in here is a smudgy line.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? It's a very thin line there inside. That's just showing that the camera didn't have any information there, i.e. you didn't take enough pictures. Was this with your macro again, Susie?
Yes.
Yeah. So with the macro, you need to, and you can see it a little bit down here as well. See the smudginess? There's just like a weird bit that like isn't in focus. It's over here as well. So this is a good lesson. Take more rather than let the detail. You can really see the direction that Susie is moving in here. The level of detail, like in here and in here, is amazing. But I want to make sure, I think compositionally you could have done a little bit. It could have been improved just a tad, Susie.
The tethering would have really helped for this. Yeah.
That was the main, when you guys were like, oh my God, you're throwing so much at me last time. I really wanted to show you the tethering to dovetail with the focus stack. Because focus stacking is quite hard to do without seeing what you're doing. If that makes sense, as in seeing in real time what you're doing. So we'll practice that. Let's look at this one. Really interesting show. Top down perspective. Again, this is kind of like whose was it? Jenny's lily pad photo. The center of the show is almost smack bang in the middle, which works because there's symmetry. But don't be afraid to kind of break the rules and start to think about, that's the focal point, and I don't need to show the whole, I don't need to show the whole shell, and I'll maybe, I don't know, offset it. So it's almost exactly the same as the lily pad and the spoke of the wheel picture. Probably not enough, but
Moon landing.
yeah. Yeah, it does look like it looks like it's a really interesting show. Now, whose was this?
Joanne. Same
Joanne,
problem.
was this
I just was having fun with the things I found.
did you try and focus stack this one, or was this just a line of
No.
pattern? Yeah. So Joanne, it's interesting. I'm seeing a theme with yours. This, the car wheel, and what was the other one that we saw at the top? And the well, primarily this and the car wheel. You can see that in both of them, to me, you've given too much away.
Well, I was thinking rhythm and patterns, and that was, I wasn't thinking more, that was my,
But I'm saying you can still
but
get
I
the
agree
rhythm,
with
you
you.
can still
I
get the
didn't
rhythm
take
and
it to the next
pattern
step.
without necessarily just showing the whole shell.
Right.
Or the whole, like, I don't know, I get commissioned by Chihuly to go and photograph his pieces. Well, the first one I'd take would be a picture like this, which shows the whole thing. But then if I'm making a book of Chihuli's like a catalog, I'd then go in and pick up on small details, which would still lean into line and rhythm and shape and pattern, but it's just
Right.
not showing the whole thing. Same as if
Absolutely
this
right.
is this is me selling the tire. Like I work in a tire store and I want to sell this beautiful tire to someone. But then once someone opens up the catalog about the luxury tire that I'm selling, I'd probably have more detailed pictures. See this,
Right.
you see this used in food photography, like for example, the whole time they'll show the whole thing, and then they'll just show like a snippet of like color from the salad or the sand, or they'll like zoom in on like a tiny bit of the sandwich or the sushi or whatever it is. So yeah, good kind of lesson for you there, Joanne. I think both of these, I can see exactly what you were doing, which was great. I just want you to take it one step further. And hopefully that makes sense to everyone else. Okay, let's go back. We've got a couple more to finish on today. Let's put this one first. Let's look at this one. Okay. So this one we have got the shadowing that Joanne didn't have in her pine cones. Light coming from left or right, do you think, Charlie? When you look at this, where's the light coming from?
From over your right shoulder, it looks like.
Yeah, you got it. So it's Rembrandt lighting again over the right-hand shoulder coming down on these. I like the kind of, I would probably say that when you compose this, I either would have been a bit more like, I'm going to crop half this thing out, or I'm going to show the whole thing. It kind of looks a little bit like there's a little bit there missing. I would have given it a little bit more room to breathe. Settings look great, really good. Relatively zoomed in at 75 millimeters. Was this yours, Jenny? I can't remember. I think
Yes, it's mine.
And did you
And I was just working with the dimensions of
yeah, and
the onion.
did you focus stack it?
Yes, I took
Yeah.
11 images.
11 images, and look at this. Mission accomplished. Susie, she took 11, right? Look at
Yes.
the whole thing shot. Everything.
I wanted to get the root and the tip of the green. It was
Yeah.
really just sort of practice here.
And you also got this shot. The
Yeah.
whole thing. This is great. I mean, when you photo it, look all the way up. The whole thing. So really good job, Jenny. Excellent. This is showing like the real, very, very hard. I would argue almost impossible to take a picture that looks this sharp from the kind of root up to the thing in one picture. Even if you were at f/22. It's a great example of focus stacking to bring a lot of depth to the scene. And again, like Jenny could have she was just practicing here, but eventually she could have been like, yeah, like I'm gonna like lean into the abstractness of this. Maybe I'll try to get, I don't know. I don't like that. I was just gonna see if I could get it. So I do like these like wispy things. Huh. Playing it. I was trying to lead, I was trying because I like where the light's coming from. I like the shadow. But look at the sharpness there when I've zoomed in. This is, and remember this thing is bulbous. Like this bit is much closer to the camera than this bit. And that's the thing we got to remember. Everything is three-dimensional and everything is a certain distance away from the camera. We always want to start our focus stack on the thing that is, Joanne, closest or furthest away from the camera.
What's closest to the camera?
Yeah,
Just,
good.
just
Sorry, I was a bit of a trick question there. But yeah, what's closest to the camera? Correct. So you'd probably start here if I was doing the composition like this. This would probably be the thing that was closest. And then you'd work your way back. Jenny, was that sunlight that was creating these shadows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunlight from behind me.
Yeah, really good. Coming kind of behind you over your right-hand shoulder. Very, very good. Nice job. Let's look at it. We've got two more to look at. 5 minutes. Look at this one. This one's lovely. I love the perspective on this one. Getting down low, shooting across the plant. Again, really interesting lighting. This one is focus stacked, but remember I said you don't necessarily have to get like you could have gone further here and said, okay, like I want all of this to be sharp, but I also want all of this to be sharp back here. But I don't think you need it in this picture. I actually think creating the softness. What I always tell people to do is while you've got the setup, I didn't tell you this, you guys, this last time. Imagine you're going to get the whole thing sharp. So shoot everywhere from here to here to here to here, all the way back. Move your square to the entirety of the back of the flower. That doesn't mean you have to use all those pictures when you put it together, but it means you don't have to go back and retake it if you do. You could maybe just pick the first four, 1, 2, 3, 4, and ignore these two. Because you're like, actually, I want the flower to fall off and have this really nice depth of field. Like, I think if this thing was completely sharp, you'd lose some dimension. But really good. Really, really good. This is, the light's great. The focus is really good. And I like the choice of keeping that back with a bit of a blurred background. Susie, was this your one? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, really nice job. It's really good. Can you remember how many you took here?
Oh, I probably took at least 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about the macro and the depth of field. And yeah, so now I would do it differently,
Yeah,
which is
and take them all,
good.
and you don't
Yeah,
necessarily need to use them.
exactly.
I'm going to show you actually. I'll show you a photographer who I discovered last week who is a good proponent of this. Let me just show you.
While you're looking at them, I've got the intimate landscape definition.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
A pared down study of a natural scenery that is a closer view than traditional landscape photography. The primary subject is the natural scenery and it must dominate, although the image may contain minor scenery elements such as people, animals, objects.
Okay, so
They're
the key word is natural that you didn't have in the feather picture.
Feathers aren't natural.
Well, but would you count? But you said it has to show part of the natural world. Hmm.
It said um, the primary subject is the natural scenery and it must dominate.
So would those feathers be classed as the natural scenery? Is my question.
Okay.
I don't know,
Maybe.
but I don't think so. But I'm
Yeah.
interested. While you're there, is there another definition of landscapes? I seem to remember there's another one. It's like it goes.
There's traditional and detail.
Yeah, so there we are. So
There's
what's the difference between the intimate landscape and the detailed landscape? That's the one I was thinking
a
of.
detailed landscape is a study of a small close-up scene of natural and or man-made elements in the landscape. The images may be realistic or photographic abstractions where the subject remains recognizable. Sand, groups of leaves, rocks, shells, reflections, ice formations.
So there we go. So that's the one I was thinking of. So that would be
Detailed landscape.
so that
There
would
you
be a
go.
detail. So that would be a detailed landscape.
That's good to know.
So arguably, if GCA throw out a category and they say a landscape photograph, you actually have the remit to do a normal landscape, an intimate landscape, or a detailed landscape. They all fall under that umbrella. And
Yeah.
what's going to
They
make
usually specify.
Yeah.
but I'm saying if there was just a general a landscape, which I have
Mhm.
seen before, a landscape
Yeah.
photograph, it's quite interesting that there's those kind of sub definitions,
Mhm.
intimate and because I mean, what's the difference between
Detail.
infinite and infinite, intimate and detailed?
Intimate.
Yeah, I know. Intimate and detailed basically sound the same, but there was a distinction when you read the definition there,
Exactly.
which is
That
good.
was great to know that difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so bear that in mind. That's a good one to help all of your photos stand out for contest entries, because most people, the minute they hear landscape, they just think like ocean, like beach, sky, or like lake, sunset, which also work, but just don't be afraid to look. Remember, really good photography is what we take out rather than what we put in. It's an exercise in exclusion rather than addition. The more we take out, sometimes the greater story we tell. That phrase I've taught you before: show less, tell more. Okay. I was trying as well. I was trying to pull up this photographer to show you. I'm just going to quit. Yeah, I'm going to pull him up. quickly. Let's have a look. Just making sure I spell his name right. Hyun. So I came across this photographer who does a lot of still life, but with very like sculptural Rembrandt lighting. Look, this will give you some inspiration. Let me just see if I can get this up. Come on, there we go. Okay, let me share my screen. So this guy's called Jean-Baptiste. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Huynh, Huynh, but he does lots of these floral images, very Irving Penny, but where they are all totally in focus. Jean-Baptiste, Huynh. You can look him up. He's done all these really interesting things with people and flowers and like combining portraiture and floral stuff and stuff like this. But he's also done a lot of very simple, I shouldn't say simple, but focusing just on a part of the flower with good sculptural light, like exactly like Jenny had, and then often using focus stacking to get the whole thing tack sharp. Like if I look him up and I type in, I think, see if I can get any more. So like something like this, oops, sorry. Like that is focus stacked. It's completely sharp from front to back. And it almost becomes quite like sculptural, like the way the light hits hitting it and the dynamic range. Same with, let's look at this one.
Do you think he manipulates those in studio with the?
Most of it is done in out the camera, straight out the camera. He's just put a black backdrop out, and then it's all like. When you say manipulate, what do you mean by manipulate?
Well, I mean, he brings these people into his studio and then puts these
Oh,
things up.
sorry. Oh no, this I don't think. This is. I think these people have flowers on their heads. I don't
Okay.
think he hasn't. He hasn't. He's made some, or someone's made these headdresses out of flowers, and
Okay.
and this stuff is straight out the camera. But notice a lot of the time he just shows a part of the plant. It's kind of where I'm trying to. It's not showing the whole thing. It's just focusing on. And this, Joanne, this is like Joanne was talking about with you, Joanne. This is still repetition and line and pattern,
Right.
but we're not seeing the whole thing. He's a good one to look up.
Yeah.
Who I haven't shown you before. And then let's finish off today by looking at. I think we got one more. And here we go. Last one, which kind of leans into like the photographer I just showed you. Like if I put that black and white, like we're just seeing a part of it. Again, watch out for the smudgy bits. See that smudgy bit on the left? That just means we didn't have enough photos. This is just practice, and this is where the tethering helps. But generally, really good. Really good. Again, really nice use of color. And this one, the composition is better, I think, in terms of kind of starting off on the bottom right and leading us into the left-hand side of the frame. Almost looks like the feathers of a peacock. Okay. So a lot of stuff covered today. I'm hoping we'll see. You may get a transcript where it's like bullet pointed, all of my lesson, which would be great because then you've got it as notes and then you've also got the recording to go along with it. I'm hoping that will help. We'll see how good a job it did because I threw a lot of different stuff at you. But does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, good. So our next class is on so today's the 9th of March. Our next class is, when is our next class? Let's have a look.
April 13th.
No.
April 13th. That is correct.
April
No,
13th,
no, we got loads before then.
Yeah.
We got
March 7th.
Tuesday, March
Oh, that's not-
17th. We've got March 17th.
Yeah.
March
Yes.
31st.
Oh, yeah.
And then April 13th. Do you remember those Monday slots were taken? So we moved.
Wait, could you repeat after the 17th what it is?
Sure.
31st.
So we got March the 17th, March the
Okay.
31st, March the 31st,
Yes.
and then April 13th.
Thank you.
So basically 2 weeks between each lesson to give you guys time to practice.
Yes.
What are we practicing next week?
Okay, so I want for those, I'm going to give you a joint assignment. Okay, so I'm going to give you the general theme of scale.
Of what?
That's my accent, sorry. Scale, as you guys would have to say. SCALE, as in playing with perspective and scale. That's going to also make you think about these detailed landscapes. But I also want you to play with the technique of focus stacking if you have time. If you have a chance and you have something, you don't have to do it. Especially like for those of you who are primarily shooting on your iPhone, it's not that relevant. But for those of you with your cameras who really want to get into it, play with it. But I'm going to go with the theme of scale. I'll give you a clue. So you want to look for things that are like big and small, but you want to try and do some camera trickery by moving things certain distances from the camera. Or even when you look at a landscape, sometimes a good scale photo would be I take a sweeping photo of a landscape and have a tiny little person in it. That introduces scale to the photo because it makes me realize how big but sometimes you could be like, I have a giant vase and I have a rose and I put one really close to the camera and one really far away and they look the same size, but one's triple the size of the other. There's tons of things you can play with. I'm purposely leaving it vague and it's actually quite a hard theme, but it's a hard theme on purpose because we're getting to be more intermediate and advanced. I want to give you guys stuff to think about. So I will see you all on the 17th.
That's St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, there we are. That's fun. Oh, well, maybe I should give you the theme green. But okay, so you can okay, let's tie that in as well. Okay, you've got three themes. Nice catch, Charlie. So we've got the theme of green, scale, or focus stacking. Any or all of the above.
Put them all together.
Yeah. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. I'll send you the recording later on today, okay?
Thank you.
Adam.
Have a wonderful week. I'll see you all soon.
And we have the iPhone tomorrow.
We do, yeah. So tomorrow we have in fact, Charlie, I'll send you an email. I just need to make sure that we've got everyone who's signed up.
Okay.
So, because at the moment I'll take it offline. Not everyone has to listen to this conversation. So, I'll shoot you an email, Charlie, okay?
Okay.
Regarding the classes. But yes, Joanne, we have the iPhone class tomorrow. I just got to make sure I was waiting for 2 more people to sign up and they haven't confirmed yet. So I need to chase them.
We need 2 more people.
I believe it's 2 more. Let me check. Hold on. I'll do it while I'm on the phone to you because it's just much easier. I can stop the recording on it.